welcome to a special BriefingsDirect podcast coming to you from the 2017 SAP Ariba Live conference in Las Vegas. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at InterArba Solutions, your host here the week of March 20 as we explore the latest in collaborative commerce and learn how innovative companies are leveraging the networked economy. Our next digital business thought leadership panel discussion focuses on how artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, and machine learning will shake up procurement and supply chain optimization. Stay with us now as we develop a new vision for how today's cutting-edge technologies will usher in tomorrow's most powerful business tools and processes. To learn more about the data-driven, predictive analytics, and augmented intelligence approach to supply chain management and procurement, please join me in welcoming our guests. We're here with Dinesh Shahani, the Chief Technology Officer at SAP Ariba. Welcome, Dinesh.
Yeah, thank you, Dana.
We're also here with Sudhir Bhojwani, Senior Vice President of the Product Suite at SAP Ariba. Welcome, Sudhir.
Thanks, Dana. It's nice to be talking to you.
Likewise, thank you. And we're here also with Sanjay Almeida. He's Senior Vice President and Chief Product Officer of Network Solutions at SAP Ariba. Welcome, Sanjay.
Thank you, Dana. I'm very excited about it here.
Well, great. Let's start with you, Dinesh. It seems like only yesterday we were confident to have a single view of a customer, clean data, maybe a single business process end-to-end type of value. But now we're poised to, in a sense, leapfrog what was only recently the status quo, using words like predictive and proactive for business functions. Why are AI and machine learning such disruptors to how we've been doing business process so far?
Yeah, Dana, first of all, if we look back, some of the technological impact that we've been having in our private life that is impacting our public life. Think about the amount of data and signals that we are gathering. We call it big data. So we not only do transaction in our personal life, we also have a lot of context that is getting pushed at us. Our location, our phone records, as we move, we are wired and we are hyper connected. Similar thing happening to the businesses also. Like since we are so much connected, a lot of data is getting created. And having that big data, it could be a problem from privacy perspective, but it also gives you an opportunity to harness that data to optimize and make your processes much more efficient, much more engaged, so to say. So if you think about big data, the way you deal with big data is try to find patterns in that data instead of like looking at the raw data. So finding those patterns collectively known as a discipline called machine learning. So there are various techniques. You can find a regression pattern, you can find a recommendation pattern, you can find all kinds of patterns that will optimize and make your experience a lot more engaging. So as that is happening, if you combine all these machine learning techniques with tools such as natural language processing, higher level tools such as inference engine, and text-to-speech processor, you get things like Siri and Alexa. And imagine that it was created for consumer space. Same thing could be available for your businesses. You can make it trained for your business processes. Overall, it improves the efficiency, it gives delight, and it gives a very engaging user experience.
Sanjay, from the network perspective, it seems like we're able to take advantage of really advanced cloud services, put that into a user experience that could be conversational like we do with our personal consumer devices. What is it about the cloud services and the network, however, that are game changers when it comes to applying artificial intelligence and machine learning to just good old business processes?
Sure. So building a little bit on the comment that Dinesh just mentioned, we have a lot of intelligent devices at home. When we watch Netflix, there's a lot of recommendation that happens. We control devices through voice. When we get home, the lights are on. And so there's a lot of intelligence built into our personal life. And when we go to work, especially in the enterprise area, the experience is far different. And so how do we bridge that? When you're at home and when you go to work, how do we make sure that your experience carries forward when you're at work? From the network perspective, we have a lot of data, about the purchases, the behaviors, the commodities. We can use that data to make the business processes a lot more efficient. Using some of the models that Dinesh talked about it. How do we actually do the recommendation so that we move away from the traditional search and taking action on rows and columns and drive that through voice interface, bringing that intelligence and recommending the next actions or the next business process through the data that we have and make it a more recommended based interaction versus the traditional forms-based interaction.
Mm-hmm. And so, Sudhir, when we go out to the marketplace with these technologies and people start to use them for making better decisions, what will that bring to procurement and supply chain activities? Are we really talking about letting the machines make the decisions? Where does the best of what the machine does and the best of what the people do kind of meet?
That's a good question. I get this question quite often, which is, what will be the role of procurement in 2025, as an example? Are the machines going to be able to just make all the decisions and we have no role to play? I mean, then you can say the same thing about that in all aspects of life. Why only procurement? So I think human intelligence is still here to stay, I believe, personally. It can be augmented. Let's take a concrete example to see what it means. So we are working on a product we call product sourcing. Essentially, what this product does is it takes a BOM, bill of material, of any given company, and it tells you the impact. So what is it? What's so cool about it? One of our customers has a BOM, which is a 8-level deep tree, essentially, with 10 million nodes in it. In this 10 million node commodity tree or a BOM, bill of material, a person is responsible who's responsible for managing the item. How does he or she know what is the impact of that on the entire tree? How do you visualize that? I think humans are very poor at visualizing 10 million node tree. Machines are really good at it. Now, where the human is going to still be required is eventually you have to make a decision. Are we comfortable that machine completely makes a decision? Only time will tell. I continue to think that this kind of augmented intelligence is what we're looking for, not somebody making complete decision on our behalf.
And Dinesh, in order to make this more than what we get in our personal consumer space, which in some cases is a nice to have, it doesn't really change the game. But we're looking for higher productivity in business. The C-suite are looking for increased margins. They're looking for efficiency. What is it from a business point of view that you think these technologies can bring? Is this going to be just lipstick on a pig, so to speak, or do we really get to change how business productivity comes about?
No, I truly believe it will change the productivity. So the whole intelligence advantage, if you look at it from a highest perspective, like enhanced user experience, ability to help you in making your decisions. When you make decisions, having this augmented, as Sudhir talked about, the augmented assistant helping you along the way. And at the same time, dealing with large amount of data. If a lot of these things are combined in a business benefit, I think it will make a huge impact. Let me give you an example. Think about supplier risk as an example. Today, you look at a risk at first year. The people who are on the network, you are directly doing business with them. They are enabled. You know everything about them, their profile, and you care about they being a good business partner to you. But think about the second and third and fourth tier, which could be doing something not so interesting for your business. And those information for those next tiers are not directly available on the network. That is distant. If those signals you can capture and somehow surface in your decision making, it can really reduce risk. Reducing risk means more productivity, more benefits to your businesses. So that is one advantage I could see. But there will be a number of advantages. I think we'll run out of time if we start talking about all of those.
Mm-hmm. Sanjay, when we look at the role of the procurement officer or the procurement department as becoming more strategic for companies. It seems to me that if we start adding some of these intelligence abilities to scale and deal with complexity and provide automation, that this would even further that strategic importance and value of procurement. Perhaps you could help us better understand of when we take these technologies and apply them to procurement, what that means for the procurement people themselves.
Sure. I think there are two inputs that you need to make strategic decisions, and one is the data, and you look at data and you try to make sense out of it. And as Sudhir mentioned, there's a limit to human being in terms of how much data processing that you can do at a time to make that. And that's where some of these technologies will help quite a bit to make the decision. Other part is personal biases, right? And eliminating personal biases by using some of these data, it's going to improve the accuracy of your strategic decisions. And so a combination of those two will help make the better decisions, faster decisions, and procurement group can actually focus on the right stuff versus busy with the day-to-day task that other people are asking to do. So I think using some of these technologies, some of the data, the power of data, computational excellence that's happening, taking the personal biases out of making decisions, that combination will make them really help them make strategic decisions.
Let me add something to what Sanjay said. One of the biggest things we are seeing now in procurement, especially in enterprise software in general, is people's expectations have clearly gone up based on their personal experience outside. I mean, 10 years back, I could not have imagined that I would never go to a store to buy shoes. Now I never go to stores. I thought, who buys shoes online? I don't know when the last time I bought shoes anything but online. It's been a few years, in fact. Now think about that expectation on procurement software. Currently, procurement has been looked upon as a gatekeeper, which is they ensure that nobody does anything wrong. Problem with that approach is it is a stick model. There is no carrot behind it. Whereas what users want is, hey, show me the benefit and I'll follow the rules. It's not like 95%, 98% of the company. There are some bad apples. Let's forget the bad apples. We can't punish the entire company users population because of a couple of bad apples. By and large, most people want to follow the rules. They just don't know what are the rules to follow. They don't have a platform that makes their decision making easy. It enables them to get the job done sooner, faster, better. And by virtue of which we have the system where the user experience is not acceptable, where procurement is looked down upon as a gatekeeper, as not an enabler. So that is the fundamental shift that has to happen, where procurement has to start thinking about themselves as an enabler. As a function, they are enabler. They are not a gatekeeper. By virtue of enabling, you are enabling the right behavior. So that's the fundamental shift.
Well, it's interesting. Dinesh, let's take that to the current state. We're here at Ariba Live 2017. We're hearing about new products and services. Are there any of the new products and services that we could point to that say, aha, this is a harbinger of things to come? Maybe it's guided buying. Maybe it's bots as an interface. What do you see as things you would point to people that say, keep an eye on that because that's what's going to be something that will give you an idea of what we have to come?
Yeah, I believe the conversational interfaces and bots, it's fairly easy technology for anyone to adopt nowadays, especially because some of these algorithms have are available so easily. But from my perspective, I think one of the technology that will have a huge impact on our life could be advent of IoT devices, 3D printing, blockchain. So there are a number of them. To me, I think blockchain is the most exciting one. That will have a huge impact on the way people look at the network. Some people think about blockchain as a complementary idea to the network. Other people think that it is contradicting to the network. We believe it is complementary to the network. It reaches the boundary of your network to faraway places that were not even connected. And bringing that into a governance model where you have all your processes and all your transactions are captured in the central network. So I believe augmenting that being a trusted transactional model and combine that with other innovations like IoT, where a machine could order itself. Like my favorite example was a washing machine that starts working when the energy is cheaper. It's a pretty exciting use case. So those kind of things. So if you combine, so this is a combination of open platform and IoT combining together, and with blockchain-based energy rate brokering. So these are the kind of use cases will become possible in future. I do see platforms sitting in the center of all this innovation.
Right. Sanjay, let's look at blockchain from your perspective. How do you see that ability of distributed network authority fitting into business processes? Maybe people haven't quite put those two together.
Sure. The core concept of blockchain is distributed trust and transparency. And when we look at the network, we obviously have the largest network in the world. We have over 2.5 million suppliers transacting on the network. But there are another, hundreds of millions of suppliers are not on the network. Obviously, we would like to get them. And so if you use the blockchain technology to bring that trust together, it's a federated trust model, then our supply chain will be a lot more efficient, a lot more trustworthy, and it will improve the efficiency, and all the risk that associated with managing suppliers will be able to kind of manage that risk by using that technology.
So this isn't a maybe or an if. This sounds like a very definite blockchain will be a significant technology for advancing productivity in business processes and business platforms.
Absolutely, and I think to scale that, you have to have a scale of, and Ariba, as I said, has a scale from the number of suppliers, the amount of business that happens on the network. So you have to have scale and technology together to make that happen. And we want to be center of blockchain. We want to be a blockchain provider, and so that other third-party ecosystem can be part of this trusted network and make this process a lot more efficient.
So here, for those who are listening and reading this information that are interested in taking advantage of machine learning and better data and what the Internet of Things will bring and artificial intelligence where it makes sense, what, in your estimation, should they be doing now in order to prepare themselves as an organization to best take advantage of this? Maybe they don't want to have their competitors to have the exact same approach and services. They want to have a differentiation. What would you advise them to be doing now in order to better take advantage of these technologies and the services that folks like SAP Ariba can provide so that they can stand out in their industry?
That's a very, very good question. And that's one of the center themes. At the core of it, I fundamentally believe tool cannot solve the problem completely on its own. You have to change as well. If the companies continue to want to stick to the old processes, but try to apply the new technology, it doesn't solve. We have seen it. We have seen that movie being played before. People get our tool. They say, hey, we were sold very good vision, so we bought SAP Ariba tool. We tried to implement it. It didn't work for us. When you ask the questions, generally the answer is, we just tried to use the tool, try to change the tool to fit our model, to fit our process. We didn't try to change the process. Now think about blockchain. Is it realistically possible that somebody who's not, clearly enterprises are not used to being, for track and trace reasons or payment reasons, they're not really exposing that kind of information in any shape or form in a very effective, they're very secretive about it almost. So for them to suddenly participate in this requires a change on their side. But that requires, hey, what is the benefit for me? What is the value that it offers me? And I think slowly but surely that value is starting to get very, very clear. You hear more and more companies, like for example, especially on the payment side, starting to participate in blockchain. General ledger will be available on blockchain someday, I think, for many, many companies, hopefully someday. This was one of the big ideas for SAP. If you think about SAP, we run more general ledgers in the world than any other company. We are probably the biggest general ledger company. What if we connect all of them? Those things are possible, but it's still a technology only. Until the companies want to see, hey, this is the value because of which I have to change myself as well. So this changing yourself part, even though it sounds so simple, what we are seeing is in consumer world, change happens a little bit faster than enterprise world. But even that is actually changing because of the demands that the end user, the millennials, when they come into the workforce, the force that they have and the expectation that they have. So I think enterprises, if they continue to resist, I don't think that's sustainable anymore. So I think that is changing, and they will force them to change. So I personally actually believe in next 3 to 5 years, when more and more millennials they're already more millennials now, but that force it grows, it goes higher up in the chain, you will see people adopting it at a much faster pace.
Mm-hmm. All right, before we close out, I'd like to pose a similar question as well to you, Dinesh and Sanjay. What would you advise people to do to put themselves in the best position to be ready and to take advantage of these technologies and these fairly significant changes that we're now facing?
No, I think Sudhir put it very nicely. I think be open to the change. You can achieve transformation if the value is clearly articulated. Procurement, one of the big change for procurement is from being a spend controller, you need to transition yourself into value creator. And there, I think a lot of this technology will benefit you. And some of the technology vendors like us, we cannot just throw in a major change at our users. We have to do that gradually. For example, for AI, it will start as an augmented first before it starts making algorithmic decisions. So it is a change on both sides. And once that happens, and once we trust each other on the system, nice things will happen.
All very verifiable, though, right? Yes. Last word to you, Sanjay. How would you best prepare organizations for this change?
Yeah, I think this gentleman covered most of it. One thing I would add to that is organizations need to think about what they want to achieve in the future, and adopt the tool and technology and business processes for their future business goals. It's not about living in the past, because the past is going to be gone. Present is going to be gone, like past. And so how do you differentiate yourself, your business, with the rest of the competition that you have? How do you think about that? And so the past business processes and people and technology may not necessarily get you over there. And so how do you leverage the technology that companies like SAP and Ariba provides, and think about what should be your future business processes with the people that you have? As Sudhir mentioned, millennials have different expectations, and they won't accept the status quo.
Mm-hmm. Well, very good. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. We've been talking about how artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, machine learning, and blockchain are poised to shake up procurement and supply chain optimization. And we've learned how today's cutting-edge technologies will soon be ushering in tomorrow's most powerful business tools and processes. So a big thank you to our guests. We've been here with Dinesh Shahani, the Chief Technology Officer at SAP Ariba. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And we've been here with Sudhir Bhojwani, Senior Vice President of Product Suite at SAP Ariba. Thank you.
Thanks, Dana.
And Sanjay Almeida, Senior Vice President and Chief Product Officer of Network Solutions at SAP Ariba. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
And a big thank you as well to our audience for joining this special podcast coming to you from the 2017 SAP Ariba Live Conference in Las Vegas. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Interarbor Solutions, your host throughout this series of SAP Ariba-sponsored BriefingsDirect Digital Business Insights discussions. Thanks again for listening, and do come back next time.